Maybe you clicked just out of curiosity, or maybe, without realizing it, you were looking for a quiet place where words come slowly and silence is part of the conversation. I've shared this story with care, like piecing together memories, pain, and discovery, hoping that somewhere along the way, you'll see a bit of yourself. If that happens, even just for a moment, stay a while. Listen as long as you can, and if you feel like it, leave a little sign. It doesn't have to be anything big. Sometimes just a simple "I'm here" changes everything. And if this story speaks to you, a like, a share, or a comment means more than you know. But no pressure. Just know you're welcome here. It was one of those crisp Saturday mornings in early spring, where the air smelled like freshly cut grass, and the sky over Willow Creek was a perfect blue. My parents' backyard in suburban Connecticut looked like something out of a lifestyle magazine. Rows of tulips and hydrangeas, a freshly pressure-washed patio, and the lawn manicured like a golf course. It wasn't just a family photo day. It was my mom's personal PR event. I parked my old SUV in the driveway and took a deep breath. My daughter, Emma, was 10 months old, wearing a soft lavender romper with tiny ruffles on the sleeves. Her curls were freshly brushed, and her chubby little hands clutched her favorite teddy bear. I balanced her on one hip, diaper bag slung over the other shoulder, and walked toward the backyard gate, already hearing laughter. Inside, the scene could have been a Better Homes and Gardens spread. My sister, Lacey, was standing center stage in a blush pink sundress, her fiancé Tyler in a cream button-down behind her. My mom was in pale yellow, pearls on, holding a glass of sparkling water. My dad adjusted his pastel blue sweater over his shoulders like he was auditioning for a country club ad. "Hey, we're here," I said, forcing some cheer into my voice as I stepped onto the patio. My mom turned her head slowly, eyes sweeping over me and then landing on Emma. Her perfectly glossed lips parted into a small, tight line. "You brought the baby?" she said. The tone was wrong. Not surprise, not delight, like I'd brought a muddy dog into her clean house. I blinked, thinking I must have misheard. Yeah, of course. This is her first family photo." She didn't smile. Lacey smirked over her shoulder, pretending to adjust her hair. I felt a pinch in my chest. It was the first hint, subtle but sharp, that something was off. The photographer, a young guy my mom had booked through some luxury family portrait Instagram ad, was adjusting his tripod near the flower beds. The sun hit just right, making Lacey's blonde hair glow like she was in a shampoo commercial. I shifted Emma on my hip, already imagining our first full family photo. I had driven 2 hours for this, packed snacks and diapers, and even dressed in a soft cream blouse to match the pastel theme my mom had emailed about. But as I stepped closer to the lineup, my mom held up a hand. "Honey, could you maybe take Emma back to the car?" For a second, I laughed. I thought she was joking. "The car?" "Mom, what? Why?" "She's a little distracting," my mom said, tilting her head like she was choosing her words carefully. "This photo is supposed to be clean, symmetrical, aesthetic. Babies, they don't really fit the look." I froze, the words landing like ice water. My dad didn't even look up from the camera preview. "Let them do this one without her," he muttered. "We can take a few with the baby after. Just one good shot first." Lacey didn't bother hiding her smirk. "Seriously, it's fine. She's too little to even remember any of this." Emma whimpered in my arms, probably sensing the tension. I kissed her curls, swallowing the burn rising in my throat. I stepped back, then farther, until I was standing near the hedges, half in shadow, clutching my daughter like a shield. I watched as the photographer counted down, and the family I'd been born into smiled their perfect pastel smiles. without me. The shutter clicked, over and over. My sister tossed her hair. My mom straightened Tyler's collar. My dad rested a proud hand on her shoulder. No one looked in my direction. In that moment, the backyard felt like another planet, and I wasn't part of it. By Sunday evening, my phone buzzed with a notification from the family group chat. Mom, photos are in. They turned out perfect. I hesitated before opening it, Emma napping against my shoulder. The first photo filled my screen. A soft pastel dream. Pale yellows, blush pinks, and baby blues, like a magazine spread. My parents in the center, my dad's arm draped proudly around my mom. Lacey in front, her fiancé smiling like an ad for engagement rings. My brother and his wife on the other side, perfectly posed. And the space where I should have been? Empty. I swiped. Photo after photo, each one a different angle of the same complete family. Without me. Resolve! I wiped my face, looked over at Emma asleep in her crib, and whispered, "They won't erase us again." In that single, painful night, the seed of payback was planted. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't even leave a passive-aggressive comment on my mom's Facebook post. After years of being gaslit, dismissed, and made to feel like I was overreacting, I knew better. Words wouldn't change a thing. This time, I would let actions speak, loudly. On Monday morning, after dropping Emma off at daycare, I parked outside a small cafe with my laptop. My coffee went cold as I scrolled through options on a local advertising website. I wasn't looking for some tiny digital ad or a post online. No, I wanted something they couldn't scroll past. And then I saw it. A massive billboard right off Maple Ridge Drive, the street my parents walked their golden retriever every morning, the one where my mom waved to neighbors in her pink robe and traded gossip about whose hydrangeas were blooming. It was available and expensive. I didn't hesitate. I clicked Reserve Now. That evening, I called my best friend Lily. She's a professional photographer and the only person who had seen me through every breakdown and every late-night call since Emma was born. "You okay?" she asked gently when she picked up. "I'm better than okay," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded. "I need a photo shoot." We didn't go to a studio. We didn't wear pastels. We shot in my real life, on the slightly sagging gray sofa where Emma first learned to sit up, on the patch of grass behind my apartment building where she had wobbled through her first steps holding my fingers, on the faded quilt my mom once called tacky, now draped over my shoulders as I held my daughter against the late afternoon sun. Emma giggled, gummy smile wide, her curls haloed in the light. For the first time in weeks, I felt full. When Lily showed me the final image on her camera, I knew this was the one. Me holding Emma, both of us laughing, sunlight painting our faces. I sent the file to the Billboard company with 5 words underneath. "This is my real family." 2 clicks, a credit card swipe, and it was done. By Friday, the proof email arrived. Installation scheduled. 7 a.m., Monday. I stared at the confirmation on my screen, heart pounding, and whispered to Emma as she gnawed on her teddy bear. "They wanted a picture-perfect family? We'll give them a picture they'll never forget." Monday morning, just before sunrise, I buckled Emma into her car seat and drove silently through the empty streets of Willow Creek. My stomach fluttered with a mix of dread and thrill. The spring air was cool, and mist still clung to the edges of the lawns as I turned down Maple Ridge Drive. And there it was, 20 feet of defiance. The billboard towered above the street, catching the soft glow of the early sun. The photo was everything I had imagined. Me in jeans and a worn cardigan, sitting cross-legged on the faded quilt. Emma in my lap, her lavender romper crinkled from play, her tiny hands gripping her teddy bear. both of us laughing, real, unpolished, alive. Below us, in bold white letters against a soft gray backdrop, "This is my real family." I parked 2 blocks away, hidden behind a row of maples, and waited. At 7:10 a.m., right on schedule, the show began. My mom stepped out onto the driveway in her signature pink robe, coffee mug in hand, and walked toward the flower beds. She lifted the hose, humming faintly. Then she glanced up. She froze. From where I sat, I could see the hose slip from her fingers, water spraying onto the driveway. Her free hand went to her mouth. A moment later, my dad walked out, adjusting his sweater like he always did. He followed her gaze. His mug hit the concrete, shattering with a sharp crack. They both just stared. 2 statues in the morning light. By the time I got home, the texts had already started. Mom: "What is wrong with you? You've embarrassed this family." Dad: "Take it down. Everyone is going to see this." Lacey: "OMG, are you serious? What will the neighbors think?" I didn't reply. I put my phone on silent, laid Emma on her playmat, and watched her gnaw on a teething ring like nothing in the world had changed. Except everything had. I had finally taken up space they couldn't crop me out of. And for the first time in my life, the silence was mine. By the 3rd morning, I thought the billboard would fade into the background of my parents' world, just a silent reminder they'd try to ignore. I was wrong. On Wednesday afternoon, my best friend Lily texted me a link with no context. It was a photo of the billboard. A stranger had snapped it from their car and posted it on Twitter with the caption, "When your family erases you, make your own spotlight." Within hours, it had been retweeted thousands of times. Comments poured in. "I don't know who she is, but she's my hero." "The smile on that baby's face says everything." This hit me right in the childhood trauma. By the next morning, it had gone viral on TikTok too. Someone added soft piano music and text overlays like a mini documentary. They tried to crop her out, but she took her frame back. The hashtags exploded. #, real family #, full frame #, uncropped. Then came the emails. First, a journalist from the local paper. "We'd love to interview you for a piece about family, identity, and the power of speaking out." Then, a producer from a regional morning show. "Your story resonates with so many. Would you be open to sharing it on air?" I hesitated at first. I wasn't looking for fame or revenge. I just wanted to be seen. But something inside me shifted. All those years I'd swallowed my feelings, all the dinners where I'd sat quietly while Lacey basked in the spotlight. Suddenly, my voice mattered. On Friday morning, I sat in a modest TV studio, Emma on my lap, lights warm on our faces. The anchor smiled and said, "Today, we're talking to a young mother whose quiet protest has turned into a movement, reminding all of us that being cropped out doesn't mean being erased." I felt my throat tighten. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the invisible daughter. And when the interview aired that evening, my inbox flooded again. This time, not with my family's fury, but with messages from strangers. "You made me feel seen. I was the forgotten kid, too. Thank you. You just gave me permission to take my power back." I held Emma close that night, whispering, "See, baby? The world sees us now." Just when I thought the storm was starting to settle, the backlash hit. Only this time, it was from my own family. It started with Lacey's subtle digs online. She posted vague stories on Instagram, hinting that I was unstable and seeking attention. Her followers, mostly our mutual friends and neighbors, were quick to pick up the hint. Then came my parents' Facebook statuses, heavy with hurt and betrayal. I never imagined being betrayed by my own daughter. It's painful when family chooses fame over love. They painted me as the villain, the unreasonable one trying to tear apart the perfect family. But the narrative they tried to build quickly began to crumble. Neighbors who had watched the photo shoot from their windows started speaking out online. One even posted a video of the day, clearly showing me being asked to leave with Emma. Others shared their own stories of family exclusion and favoritism, making it clear my experience wasn't isolated. A local community group echoed these stories, condemning the way my family handled things and praising my courage to speak up. The online community rallied behind me, scrutinizing every claim my family made. Their words lost credibility as the truth unfolded in public view. For the first time, my parents' carefully crafted image cracked. Invitations to neighborhood events stopped coming. Casual hellos faded into awkward silences. The perfect family facade was falling apart, piece by piece. And through it all, I stayed silent. Because sometimes, the loudest message is the one you don't say. Word traveled fast in small towns like Willow Creek. Within days, the social circles my parents once moved in, the country club, golf mornings, the Sunday services at St. Mark's Church, the neighborhood book club, started quietly closing their doors. Invitations stopped arriving. Friendly waves became distant nods. One afternoon, I got an unexpected call from a marketing director at Bright Light Media, a major lifestyle brand. "We've been following your story," she said. "Your message about real families is powerful. We'd love to feature you as the face of our next campaign." Before I knew it, another billboard was going up, this time right in downtown Hartford, where thousands passed every day. It showed the same photo of Emma and me, framed by the campaign's tagline, "Real families, real stories." Back in Willow Creek, Lacey was furious. She posted bitter comments online, trying to discredit me. But her voice was drowned out by the overwhelming support I continued to receive. My parents said little, too stunned, too ashamed to even argue back. The proud smiles I remembered were replaced by guarded looks and nervous glances. The perfect image they fought so hard to maintain was shattered in the public eye. And I stood taller than ever, not because of billboards or campaigns, but because finally the world saw me and Emma for who we really were. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when I heard a hesitant knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, there stood my parents, eyes red and swollen, faces worn from sleepless nights. My mother clutched a small bouquet of daisies. My dad's hands trembled slightly as he shifted nervously on his feet. We want to see Emma," my mother said, voice breaking, "and to apologize for everything." I looked past them to the living room where Emma played, oblivious and happy. Then I met their eyes and asked, quietly but firmly, "If the whole world hadn't been watching, would you have come?" They faltered, silence stretching between us like a chasm. No words came. I stepped back, closing the door gently but decisively, not with anger, but with peace. Because some wounds need boundaries, not forgiveness. And in that moment, I felt free. The billboard came down exactly 30 days after it went up. But by then, I didn't need it anymore. What started as a quiet protest had grown into something bigger, a movement. With the support of friends and strangers who had reached out with their own stories, I launched Full Frame, a foundation dedicated to helping mothers and daughters who had been cast out or silenced by their families. It was a place for healing, for community, and for reclaiming the space they deserved. A few weeks later, a handwritten letter arrived. "To the granddaughter I never got to hold. I hope it's not too late." It was from my grandmother, the one who had stayed silent through the years, never taking sides, but always watching. And then came the day we took a new family photo. This time, It was just the three of us, Emma, my grandmother, and me, smiling in the soft afternoon light. No cropping, no editing, just real love, captured forever. Sometimes healing doesn't come in a perfect frame. Sometimes it comes in the space you give yourself to be seen.